great Oriental Rabbanim of yesteryear. And today we are going to concentrate on, in part of this series, of famous Rabbi Isaac Alcalay, or you could also call him Rabbi Yitzchak Alcalay in Hebrew, respectively. He was born actually in English State, November the 11th, 1881, and passed away in December the 29th in the year 1978. He was a really great rabbi, a part of the great rabbis from the famous Yugoslavia, which we've spoken about in many, many different occasions throughout him. And that he was also a doctor. He was right, Dr. Yitzchak Alcalay. I believe he was the son of another famous rabbi, Rabbi Abraham Alcalay. It could be he was a grandson, but I've got to double check, of a famous Rabbi Yehudi Alcalay, who we covered a video on at the time of around Yom Ha'atzmaut. We covered a video on him. He was born in Bulgaria, in Sofia, in English, as we said before, 1881. And his mother was Rabbanit Rivka Arditi. Obviously, his father, as we said before, was Rabbi Avram Alcalay. Also, he studied in the Vienna Rabbinic Seminary, and he graduated also from the University of Vienna, I believe in the year 1908 this was. And in 1909, he was appointed the chief rabbi of Belgrade, which is now modern-day Serbia, the old, I believe, the old Yugoslavia over there, if I'm not mistaken. He served as, obviously, as a great advocate, let's say, of the as an emissary of the Serbian government from the years 1915 to 1918. He visited America on a mission, I believe, in the year 1918 on behalf of the Serbian Jewish community over there, and wrote about the Serbian Jews in the American Jewish Yearbook, I believe. He founded the Rabbinical Federation of Yugoslavia. This was in the year 1923, so we're talking about more than a century from the time of this now, because I'm recording this here in 2024. He served as its first president and helping edit its annual, let's just say, I'll pronounce it in the native language of theirs, Jeverjiski Almana. And also in the year 1923, King Alexander I appointed him chief rabbi of Yugoslavia, respectively, over there. It's so he attended the first Sephardi Congress, I believe in the year 1925, where he was elected vice president of the World Sephardi Federation. Very, very prominent position this was over there. And in the years prior to the disastrous Holocaust, he was a central and unifying figure for Yugoslav Jewry. I believe in the year 1928, he published a study of Jews through the Balkans in the late 19th century and the earlier 20th century, let's say. He received the Order of the St. Sava in the year 1921, and in 1932, King Alexander I appointed him to the Senate of Yugoslavia, making him the only Jewish member of Parliament of Yugoslavia over here. This was what was reported over in the year 1932. This was, I think there was an extraction from the Jewish Telegraph Agency within regards to this. Very interesting. He wasn't reappointed in 1938. I believe there was more because of anti-Semitic sentiments rising in Yugoslavia due to, unfortunately, funding from Nazi Germany at that stage in time. And it left Yugoslavian Jews without, let's say, any representation in parliament. So obviously he made a huge impact during those years. He was a chaplain in the Serbian army during the Balkan Wars, and at one point he was a president of Yugoslavia Red Cross. He also wrote several research studies on the history of Jews of Yugoslavia, which obviously would be brilliant to look over. In April 1941, it was the day after Germans bombed Belgrade, Rabbi Alcalay left Belgrade with his wife and daughter and began escaping Yugoslavia on foot. It was reported over that there were false reports at first that he was killed in the bombings, although his son-in-law was reportedly captured by the Nazis. It was reported over. This was over here. I'll try and find this. I think also the Jewish Telegraph Agency reported this. He was hunted down by the Gestapo in Yugoslavia, and at one point he hid in the cellar while his daughter told Gestapo agents that no one was in his house. The Breslau radio repeatedly singled him out for attack, promising listeners he would be captured. Apparently, look how terrible the anti-Semitism was. He managed to escape capture, this was reported over, and made his way to Sofia, to Bulgaria, over there. Unfortunately, over there was also the pro-Nazi Bulgarian government under King Boris III. They found out about his arrival and ordered him to leave within 24 hours. He was able to stay longer for health reasons and later made his way eventually to Istanbul in Turkey. From there, he made his way to Palestine, where he was welcomed by the entire yeshuv, reported over, for his support of Zionism and for being the great nephew of Rabbi Yehuda Alcalay. So according to this, he was a nephew, the great nephew of Rabbi Yehuda Alcalay. I thought maybe he was the grandson of Rabbi Yehuda Alcalay, but it seemed like he was a nephew of him, according to this. Obviously, Rabbi Yehuda Alcalay really was arguably one of the founders of modern Zionism, and say way before Theodore Herzl. We did a separate video on Rabbi Yehuda Alcalay, so I very much recommend everyone to look on it. While he was in Palestine, he recovered from his journey and made arrangements with the Jewish agents leaders, especially the heads of the Sephardic community, to render aid to Yugoslavia. He traveled to America in a roundabout journey via West Africa and South America, and he arrived in the country by, I believe, in July 1942. After he arrived in America, he settled in New York City over there and became a representative of the Yugoslav government in exile. And in the year 1945, he helped organize the Central Sephardic Jewish Community of America. So he kept working, the Inc. over there, let's just say, incorporation, serving as its leader, chief rabbi of all Sephardic Jews in New York City, very prominent position, and spiritual head of all Sephardic communities in the United States. Until his leadership, the Sephardic community in America went from, let's say, some scattered and stagnating congregations into a more unified and mainstream community. So he brought about a lot of unity. Involved in the founding of the World Jewish Congress in 1936, he promoted its work on behalf of the persecuted European journey before, during, and after World War II and the Holocaust. He was a broad member of the American Joint Distribution Committee, the B'nai B'rith, and the New York Board of Rabbis. He also founded the Sephardic Home for the Aged in Brooklyn, an old age home, I believe. He retired as chief rabbi in 1968, after which he lived in this Sephardic home, which we just spoke about. In 1970, the Yeshiva University gave him a medal, and in 1971, the Slav Jews in the US issued souvenir journal in honor for his 90th birthday. In 1910, just as footnotes which we didn't mention before, it was reported over that Rabbi Alcalay married Jelena Ilona Schaefer in Vienna, and they had one daughter together, Naomi, I believe her name was, if I'm not mistaken. And he passed away in the Sephardic home in December the 29th in the 1978, the great Rabbi did. So he passed away in 1978, so he was close to 100 years at the time passing. I think, to be precise, he was 97 years of age, so he lived quite a very long life, relatively. And it is yahrzeit of the former Yugoslav chief rabbi. It's going to be the yahrzeit. And naturally, the Hebrew date is, the English date is November the 11th. This was November the 11th. So please light candles in his memory. You can light candles whenever you want in his memory of the great rabbi itself, and learn more about the great rabbanim of yesteryear over here, including Rabbi Alcalay online. A lot about him also, and the great chief rabbi and the great rabbis of Yugoslavia. Maybe we'll do a separate video on the history of the Yugoslavian rabbis. Have a great day and take care.